Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here, and I am glad to be here. Let's go big. Begin in gratitude. Okay, it's easy. Two words. Mother's Day. Mother's Day. What a great celebration to honor our mother. I know as I think back on my mom, if you ask me about her, I'd say she's a combination of Lucille Ball and Mother Teresa. I know you can't imagine that, but that truly describes her. But this past weekend, or this weekend, many of us celebrated Mother's Day. But if we go bigger, that's just not about the mothers in our lives. It's but for the mother-hearted people around the world. Those who unselfishly nurture, serve, and warm others. There's no spotlight, there's no recognition. They just do it. Shortly after the North, Shortly after the Iron Curtain came down in the early 1990s, I traveled to Mongolia with my son Bo. At that time, in that part of the world, it was tough. One, the weather was tough, but also the political and business environment was tough. In fact, they had an imbalance of trade. They didn't have enough glass to even fit in the hospital, and a lot of kids were suffering. Temperature was below zero. The heating and the infrastructure everywhere was unreliable. So before we left, a women's relief organization asked us to carry something. Over 80 handmade quilts, each stitched by loving hands, each with a note sewn in it saying something like, "From our hands to your hearts with love." So, with the help of Air China, we got all 80 quilts there. And that's a story in and of itself. That's another time. But I'll never forget being able to hand them out, to place them on children in cribs and in beds. First in Ulaanbaatar, as we went to a hospital there, a children's hospital, and it was cold. And we had the opportunity to go in and actually place them there. And then we went to a remote school, way remote. And out there for school for little children. And they were laying in bed. They had one blanket that was wrapping them up and a head sticking out one side. So one blanket for every two children and a head on each side of it. As we placed those blankets on the children, the teachers wept. The nurses wept. The doctors wept. We wept. Teachers hugged us. Was that the real gratitude? It didn't belong to us. It belonged to the women who stayed behind and who had stitched those quilts. They had mothered children they would never meet. And that's the R. That's the big R of mother-hearted life. It doesn't ask, are you mine? It simply says, you matter. See, motherhood isn't just about biology. It's a calling. And I think it's a calling for all mothers throughout the world. It's a calling to nurture, to comfort, to notice someone else's cold, to do something about it. And whether you've had children or not, you can mother, whether it's through quilts, through meals, just being present through grace, hugs, smiles, a touch. That's the way, that's the spirit we honor, not just on Mother's Day, not just on Mother's Day, but every day after. So here's your challenge this week, my challenge and yours. Who needs your warmth today? Who needs your words today? Who needs your compassion, your time, your smile, your touch? Who can you mother? Even if they're not yours. Even if they're not yours. Let's carry the spirit of Mother's Day beyond the day. Let's carry the spirit of Mother's Day beyond the day with love from our hands to their hearts. You see, a mother-hearted life doesn't ask, are you mine? It simply says, you matter. Have a meaningful week. Make life meaningful. I look forward to seeing you next week. Upward, onward, outward. Have a great week. We'll talk next week. Bye-bye.